Quick question.
QQ.
What in the do we do now? Seems like every time we open our phones, there's a new crisis threatening humanity. Pandemics, climate change, inflation, corporate greed, invasion of privacy. I'm gonna stop this list because my antidepressants can only work so hard. Seems like as citizens of Earth, we have a duty to, save the planet from extinction. But how in the hell are we supposed to do that when so many of us are just struggling to make ends meet? Well, kids, this is the world we live in, and these are the hands we're given. And since we're not one to shy away from tough questions, we thought we might try answering this one. And we've got good news and bad news.
Bad news first. Saving the world is going to require mobilization and action unlike anything our civilization has seen before. The good news is this. Most of what needs to be done can be sorted into three main categories. First and foremost, we have to save democracy. Here's some good news. Pick an issue: healthcare, gun control, women's bodily autonomy, equal rights for LGBTQ+ people, climate change. Most citizens support progressive policies on all these issues and more. This is especially true in countries like the US. So then the problem is not a lack of collective will, it's just with a political system that refuses to represent the will of the people. And it's not just the Electoral College, which has given us 2 presidents in 20 years that most Americans did not vote for. Look at the Senate, which awards the same number of seats and votes to one state as it does to the 21 states whose total population is still smaller. Look at our winner-take-all electoral rules, which allow candidates to secure nomination and elected offices with only a plurality of votes. Look at the fact that we have unlimited corporate money in our political process, which has been happening since 2010.
And while the US isn't the only country that needs help, it's perhaps the most glaring example of a democracy in need of 2 types of reform. Number 1, it needs to remove structural barriers like the Electoral College, the filibuster, and Citizens United. But it also needs to make it easier for citizens to engage in their civic duty and exercise their collective willpower. That means making it easier to vote by doing things like making Election Day a national holiday or giving everybody access to mail-in ballots. Task 2, we have to tackle inequality. That's because tackling everything from infrastructure to climate change to education is going to cost money. And if that money is supposed to come from our already strained pockets, then we're in trouble. The good news is there's already enough wealth in the world to tackle these issues and probably more. The problem is it's sitting in the bank accounts of billionaires.
We've already been making noise about how less than 1% of the population controls more wealth than the bottom 90%, or the fact that multiple people on this planet command enough wealth to end world hunger or homelessness several times over. But their position is protected by more than just ineffective government that's in their pockets. It's also the prevailing myth that taxing wealth and regulating business somehow punishes success and bogs down innovation and collective benefit. Except economists and academics have known for years that the proposed benefits of trickle-down economics and deregulation are a myth. Cutting taxes on the wealthy has only led to a decades-long transfer of wealth from the middle class to the upper. Unchecked corporate greed and wealth hoarding has helped drive inflation to record highs. Economic inequality hurts market demand and makes bubbles more likely. Meanwhile, we know that innovation is highest when government uses regulation to protect competition and when would-be entrepreneurs have a robust safety net to catch them if their risk-taking does not pay off. And in terms of social programs, we could make college free for all, pay for new infrastructure, and triple the budget of the National Institute of Health just by taxing wealthy people at the same rates that we did during the 40s and the 50s, i.e. the era that supposedly made America great. And just think of how much more people would spend at businesses if they weren't breaking the bank just trying to feed, lodge, care for, and educate themselves.
But we can't just spend all that money on ourselves. I mean, free education and healthcare is not going to mean much if your entire city is underwater or being destroyed by a megastorm. And not only does climate change pose a threat to all of humanity,
but most of the risk and impending effects will weigh disproportionately on this planet's most vulnerable citizens. That means that we not only need to spend money decarbonizing our economy and combating the damage that it's already inflicted, we also need to help those who have already been placed in harm's way.
The bad news is, experts agree that we've reached another emissions point of no return. The good news is, around 70% of global emissions come from just 100 companies. So making headway on the other issues is going to help us tackle this one as well. So hopefully by narrowing down all of these various issues into just 3 main ones, we can combat the sense of cynicism and disillusionment that has so many people feeling trapped. Because yes, times have been tough. Yes, we are tired, and yes, we are up against some scary odds. But the good news is, if we flip just 2 of the right Senate seats with the right candidates, the filibuster is officially toast and the first domino can finally fall. That's why you don't just need to vote, but get involved even more in the political process. Get involved in local politics and community organizing. Participate in demonstrations and community action. Don't just settle for signing an online petition or sharing a couple articles. We are up against wildfires and everybody is holding a spoon. So we need as many people participating as possible, and we need to be organized. And that's why we're doing everything that we can to make sure that everybody is informed.